When I got pregnant, the biggest fear that I had was that I was going to be losing myself, my purpose, my ambitions, and that I would have to give up everything after having my baby. Now, after being here with my sweet 6-month-old, I've realized that that is the furthest thing from being true. Hi, my loves. I'm Queena, mama to, like I said, my 6-month-old fiance and business owner. And if you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. I'm so happy to have you guys. And today's conversation is going to be all about purpose, related to motherhood and all things juicy and everything that kind of happened in my experience, and just something that might be happening for you too, or in case you haven't given birth yet, that might happen for you, and that things don't have to be so scary. Before I gave birth, I was really into the mindset of I'm going to completely lose myself. In fact, I was dissociated for most of my journey in pregnancy because I didn't know how to compartmentalize and how to restructure my nervous system to become okay with the fact that I would have to give up everything after giving birth. I was insanely fearful, and I didn't know how to even visualize what life was going to look like after I had given birth. Everything inside of me was just paralyzed. I really didn't know how to get beyond it. The truth is that the opposite ended up happening to me. Birth was the most beautiful thing that happened. Giving birth to this baby literally put my purpose so front and center like never before. Let's talk about it. Society tells all of us that when we become mothers, we will have to sacrifice everything within ourselves, and even beyond society. It's a common thing. Yes. Oh, you want another cracker? It's a common thing within the belief of mothers that after we give birth, we have to give up everything. Mom guilt starts happening. We can't take care of ourselves anymore. Everything must be given up in order to give life to this beautiful baby and beautiful being, and there shall be nothing of us left. We shall be completely eradicated and removed from this planet Earth as we were before. And a part of that is true. A part of that is actually legitimately going to happen. You are going to be reborn into, this newer version of yourself. But instead of thinking of it as something new, I like to think of it as something that came to the surface that was always there already. Becoming a mother truly made me look at my purpose differently. It made me look at discipline differently. It made me realize that some things that I was doing before were not serving me. They fell away. And also just accept that I could be a lot better. I could be a lot more disciplined. I could stop having so many excuses for so many things, and instead I could be honest with myself and be truthful with myself and hold myself to the standard that I would also create for my daughter. Because the truth is that motherhood is not a sacrifice. Motherhood doesn't mean that you have to give everything of yourself away. Sure, it's gonna be hard sometimes, and there are gonna be moments when you feel like you don't recognize, what is going on in a day-to-day basis, but usually those moments are simply moments of overstimulation and your nervous system being stretched beyond what you're used to. We're becoming increasingly capable of holding more space, holding more care, holding more love, rather than, just sticking to what we were doing before, which was basically only either holding ourselves and our partners or simply holding ourselves. So motherhood is this deep activation, this deep invitation into everything that we are meant for. It is a mirror that amplifies everything that doesn't serve us, and to really focus on the things that do, to become so true to who we are. It literally burns everything away that isn't us. Literally. The way that it does it is that it makes things crystal clear. Becoming a mother, giving birth, and going through that process is one of the things that has shifted my perspective more than ever before. After giving birth, I was confused. I was kind of shocked. I was in that moment of what the heck just happened? You are now gifted or given, or you have birthed this beautiful baby. who is also going to go through everything in life with you. You're now responsible for keeping that baby alive and taking care of that baby and actually growing into loving this other being that came from you. Or perhaps, if you were different than me, you immediately had these deep feelings for baby and you didn't have to deal with the whole debilitating trauma thing from giving birth. But I think that moment of birth is like a portal, and that portal is bringing us into a point of becoming a lot more clear on what it is that actually means something to us. When you go through an experience that is so painful and so deeply transformational, you cannot come out of that with the same perspective. You are going to be changed in one way or another, but not for the worse, instead for the better. It's something that truly started to put me in this position where my brain started thinking, would I say that my daughter can't do this? Like, would I tell her that if she has some aspirations, whether it be having 1 million followers on YouTube, having her own business, finding a man who truly reflects everything that she seeks in a partner, would I tell her, no, you can't? Of course I wouldn't. I would tell her that whatever it is that she seeks and desires, she can have. Whatever inside of her calls towards this thing is a point of her that is showing that it is actually possible. Anything that we desire is possible. But what it does require is for us to become clear, to set boundaries, to be more structured in the way that we're organizing ourselves towards these certain things, like never before. That is truly what motherhood is. It's this restructuring and this re-energizing and this recentering of everything. Yes, yes. With that comes having more structure around boundaries, time management, and changing the base operating system that we were working with before. Wow. The way that I work in my business now is completely different from the way that I was working before. In fact, something about giving birth shifted the way that I look at my business. It shifted the things that I value most. So before, it would be better for me to be on a 1-hour meeting. Now, I don't want to be on any meetings. So that means that I have to reintroduce myself to these people that I'm working with and to actually share with them that something inside of me has shifted. I am somewhat different now. My boundaries look different now. How I manage my time does look different now. And that is good. That's a good thing. It's something that allows us to open up into this new, higher level of how we operate and how we work. So that might also mean that some people might be expecting you to operate in the same way and you don't anymore. They're going to test the boundaries that you have set, the new boundaries that you've created after you've given birth. That's also okay. I think that this new way of operating is a way that allows us to be more clear, perhaps a little bit more sassy or structured or, with an edge, where we can really put our foot down and say, this is something that is important to me. And because this is something that is important to me, I need you to also make it important to you. This can look that way in business. It can look this way in life. It can shift in whichever way we might, want to actually change directions there. All in all, we kind of just lose the part of us that was still people pleasing. I think this also is brought to the surface a lot after giving birth, especially since you are now in service of this baby and needing to protect the space of the baby, needing to protect the boundaries, needing to protect her from diseases and things and such things. When some people are sick and they come to the house, are you going to tell them, yeah, sure, you can hold my baby, or are you going to be like, fuck no. You cannot hold my baby. That's not going to happen. I think that letting go of that people-pleasing identity, any parts, any remnants of that we were still holding on to before, they have to be let go. I think even in the way that we attract financially, if, for instance, there was a client that we were working with that wasn't very good at paying on time, those things become not so okay after you're now taking care of another being, and you need to be responsible for their financial well-being as well, and making sure that they are taken care of and that you're able to pay your bills and keep a roof above your head, etc., etc. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but you understand what I'm saying. We need to make sure that people are meeting us in that new layer of, I want you to meet me here. I want you to pay on time. I want you to respect my time. I will not go above and beyond the container that we have set together and expand, beyond it, because I simply do not desire to, and I cannot. I don't have the time to do those things anymore. And time becomes very, very, very valuable as well. So the way that we look at that is just different. Like I mentioned before, when you have a baby, you don't have that much time. You start to look into the future and think to yourself, okay, what do I want my life to look like 2 years from now? I want to have more space and time to be with my baby. In this day-to-day life, I want to be more present. I want to be more active. I want to be here with her or him right freaking now. So that means that everything must make space for that. And everything, meaning we must make space for that. The way that we operate has to change in order to meet that new presence that we come into the day with, the new presence that we come into our relationship with our children with. So let that happen. That's not a bad thing. That is actually a really good thing. And whether you are someone in business or not, or whatever that looks like in your life, all of these things apply to the whole full spectrum of how we are living and what becomes important to us. It's the same in relationships. Perhaps before we had this insane amount of time that we got to spend with our partner. Now, the time has kind of decreased. Things become more important. The way that we spend our time becomes more important. The way that we communicate becomes more important. If we haven't slept for over a year, how we argue becomes more important. We now really need to be diligent about how we operate. Again, the operating system has to change and shift with the direction that we have now taken and the shift that has happened in life, which is you. You are the shift. Big yawn. So when we now have these things happen, we need to be so conscious about the way that we move forward, about the way that we communicate, about speaking with kindness or, stating our boundary or stating a desire that we need to be met. There's no time for us to kind of beat around the bush. We just get straight to the point. And that is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing that happens when you come into motherhood, as well as our vision just becoming bigger. I think that motherhood is the most beautiful permission slip that I've ever had for having a bigger vision for my life, for having the desire to buy the house and, grow a family and have this land and all these beautiful things that I dream and desire of. And that can look different for everyone, obviously. For me, that looks like, wanting to be in this place where I feel deeply peaceful, a home that reflects exactly what I desire. I want spaciousness, I want animals, I want, to be able to host people. I want our home to feel like a home. I don't just want it to be a house anymore. And I also am very particular about where I want that home to be. I want it to be in an environment where I feel like she can be safe and where she can grow and where, everything that I desire can come into existence. And before, it might have felt a little bit audacious to be like, okay, I want to buy this house in full, or I want to grow my business beyond, or I want to have the best relationship that I've ever had in my entire life. I want our community to be top notch. I want us to literally be able to hear each other without having to speak. I want us to be able to communicate in such a deep layer that we meet each other anew and in this new version of ourselves every single day. I want to feel 100% understood. Those things were things that people would and will probably tell you are too big, or that they're a little bit crazy, or that you're asking for too much. But I think that motherhood is the reclamation of all that we truly and deeply desire. And we should claim that in that moment when it comes up and we now realize that from the perspective of being a parent, from the perspective of having given birth, we get to dream bigger. We get to have more. We get to expand beyond what it is that we used to have or used to desire, and really step into what it is that we really, 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 really want. Not like a watered down version of it, but the true, potent, boiled down bigness of all of it. To me, and perhaps to you, in all reality, motherhood didn't mean losing myself. In fact, I have found myself knowing myself more, knowing deeper layers of myself, actually claiming the things that I deeply desire and letting myself have it. Yes, claim those desires, honey, because I would want her to have it too. So motherhood doesn't have to make you lose yourself. It might shift things around a little bit. It might change things that you didn't know would be changed. It might come as a surprise. You might be surprised by how fierce and bold you're gonna be coming into this. But I think it's a path of allowing. It's a path of surrender. It's a path of perspective. So let motherhood happen to you. Let her eradicate everything that doesn't serve you anymore. Step into the things that you do deeply desire. And maybe a reflection point there could be, if my, fill in the blank, daughter, son, would ask me this, what would I tell them? Would I tell them that their dreams are too big? Or would I tell her that everything that she wants is possible? She just needs to move her way towards it. And she is allowed to. Now, my love, that is basically bringing that to a close. If you want more things, motherhood, growth, ambition, relationships, and all the juicy bits in between, you're gonna want to subscribe. I loved having you guys here. I love talking about this with you guys. If there are other things that you want to talk to me about or other things that you want me to cover, if you want to have a conversation, make sure to comment below. I love talking to each and every one of you. I love connecting with new or seasoned moms or to-be moms that are unsure about what is going to happen when they come into motherhood. I deeply see all of you, and I'm so excited for this path forward. Thank you for letting me be here with you guys, and I will see you in the next one.